Bit of a personal question. Favourite sport?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Oh, is it?
The beautiful game.
Which one's that? I don't know.
Oh, come on. Football.
Really? Yes.
I'm football nuts. I'm still playing regularly.
Welcome to FirstHand, the New Zealand First podcast. I'm Tanya Unkovich, your host, and a New Zealand First List MP. Join me and my guests as we explore the first-hand experiences and perspectives of New Zealand First and our journey to bring balance, experience, and common sense to our politics. Today we're talking with Andy Foster. Join us as we discuss what it's like to become part of a caucus after working years as an independent and learn about the changes that he's helping to push over the line. This is FirstHand, the New Zealand First podcast. Hello, Andy Foster.
Hi, Tanya. Good to be here.
It's great to have you as a guest. I've been looking forward to this conversation because there's a lot about you I don't know, so I'm sure we're going to cover that today.
We'll see what you can get out of me.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us about the last 10 years of your life. What's it been like for you?
Oh, you're talking about professionally?
Yes, yes.
So I've had, of that 10 years, 9 of them were being a councillor and then Mayor of Wellington. So I had 27 years. It was the tail end of that 27 years as a councillor, and then 3 years as the Mayor of Wellington. And then a time between being the Mayor of Wellington and becoming a Member of Parliament for New Zealand First.
So it's quite a difference, isn't it? How is representing the people of Wellington different to now being a Member of Parliament?
Well, I think, as you know, we are list MPs based in a particular part of the country, but we've got to be looking at the whole country. So the issues now that I'm focused on are national issues. There's an element of international in them as well. I mean, I guess there always was as a capital city mayor in particular. But you are very much thinking about the nation rather than the city as alone or the region alone. So that's a significant difference. It's good to be actually raised up to that level. But I'm still keeping an interest, and people are asking me to keep an interest in local things as well.
Sure.
So I've got a number of different little projects that are still ongoing.
Still happening, yeah.
Yep.
So being a councillor and a mayor obviously is helping you in your new role. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, obviously it's, things about digesting information, making decisions, that's sort of a strategic focus, public speaking, and engaging with constituents. And one of the things I said in my maiden speech was that while, as a list MP, I'm not a constituent MP, but I've had effectively 27 years and then 3 years as mayor of being a representative of a constituency. And as mayor, effectively as a 3 and a bit electorate. So I'm very familiar with that, and I'm still getting, people who are asking me to do constituency type things. And sometimes you go, yep, I'll deal with that. And other times it's you pass them on to the local electorate MP as appropriate.
So all of those connections are absolutely helping you in your role today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's around Wellington, for example. I can't go anywhere in Wellington without wandering into people, bumping into people, and they want to talk and they want to know what Parliament's like. But they also have issues that they are interested in, opportunities that they can see for our city, for our country. And I always love that. I mean, it means going shopping takes twice as long.
Yes.
Always did. My wife says, "What took you so long?" And it's just the constant opportunity to talk to people and to listen to people.
Oh, I was talking. That's where you were, right? And
that's right.
So it must be a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
They must actually, the people of Wellington must love seeing your face in Parliament now. Yeah.
Oh, I think I get a lot of people saying that. Yeah, that's cool. It's nice. Yeah.
Why New Zealand First? What's the attraction there?
I think I've always been a centrist, and I think New Zealand First is the most centrist party that we've got. I mean, every party has its bits that any individual MP is probably going to look at and go, and other bits you go, yeah, I'm really on board with that. And so it is that middle of the road party, I think, which is the key for me. Conservative values generally fit with me, but some liberal bits there as well. And going right back, also New Zealand First was the party which was sort of talking about population migration, those sort of issues, which have always been really important to me. And I'm quite excited now to see. I'm now chairing the Transport and Infrastructure Select Committee in Parliament, and to see that there are quite a number of significant agencies of government finally saying the kind of things which I've been saying for decades, that we need a really coherent plan around those things. If we don't have that coherent plan, then how do we plan the infrastructure, the housing, the services that we need to support whatever the population is, wherever it's distributed, whatever age profile it is, etc., in our country.
Must feel very satisfying for you knowing that you're taking part in the actual process of change now.
It's exciting to be able to look at opportunities and say, well, actually, those are opportunities that actually come through Parliament. Parliament sets the rules. I mean, when you're in local government, Parliament often sets rules and you go, yeah, that was helpful, that one wasn't helpful. But here in Parliament, we have the opportunity of setting the rules for the operation of the country. And we've just got to make sure that we do that as best we possibly can to make the boat go faster, to give people opportunities, give businesses opportunities to do things better, to grow productivity, to essentially to make us better off, and to be able to pay for all those services that we want.
So, born and raised in England, correct?
Born in England,
yes.
Raised in New Zealand.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So how old were you?
So I was 5. I just started school in England when my father was working for Shell, and Shell was part of building the refinery up at Marsden Point. And they said to Dad that they'd like him to come over here and help with the operation. He was doing all the computer side of things in particular. And so we moved out to New Zealand. They moved us down. We had 9 months in Whangarei, and then they said, well, no, we want you in Wellington. So moved to Wellington. We were here for 4 years with Dad's work, and then they said, look, we want you all back in the UK. So we went back for about 18 months. So I'd have been, 9 or 10. And then, parents decided that actually they liked the idea of living in New Zealand. So out we came for good. And what was quite cool in that situation is that I was able to go back to the same school in Wellington that I'd been at before we went back to the UK. So, and New Zealand's been home, Wellington's been home ever since.
So that past heritage, has that informed your world views now in any way?
Oh, look, I think we should all of us be proud of our heritage and where we've come from and the history behind it. I gave a speech the other day at the Lunar New Year, and I just said, look, everybody is awesome. Everybody's culture is awesome. And what we need to be able to do is it's this multicultural country that we have, and many of us have multiple cultures as well within our background, that we should be treasuring all of those. And I think if we do that, we're going to be a much, much better country.
Yes, agree. Bit of a personal question. Favourite sport?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Oh, is it?
The beautiful game.
Which one's that? I don't know.
Oh, come on. Football.
Really? Yes.
I'm football nuts. I'm still playing regularly and following football. So I don't know if we want to put a date on this, but last night I was watching the Phoenix win again, which was fantastic. So I absolutely love football. I enjoy all sports pretty much, but football is the passion.
Okay,
always has been.
You're the sports spokesperson for New Zealand First. Is it still footy? That's your favourite sport?
Oh, look, everybody's got to have a favourite. But as I said, I enjoy all sports and watch quite a few, and enjoy trying and playing quite a few. Some of them, tennis, a lot of the outdoor sports, tramping, skiing, kayaking, those sort of things as well. I've been inveigled into the parliamentary cricket team, which might not be a good move, but
anyway, you played that? Have you ever played?
Oh, a few times, but a long time ago. So I just love giving it a go and being out playing sports. Great. Yeah,
you're a very active guy because I've often seen you with your running shoes and things under your desk. So you keep fit, right?
I do my best.
Perfect spokesperson then for the party. Yep. Okay, another personal question. Favourite colour?
Favourite colour? I'm wearing blue.
Yes.
So we'll stick with blue.
Stick with blue?
Yeah,
okay.
No, blue's probably my favourite.
Yeah, and a lot of men's suits are in dark blue though, aren't they?
Yeah, well, going back in time, I had a lot more greys and even sort of, browny type colours, but I think I switched to blue, and I think that's the colour that works for me.
Yeah, and you're looking very sharp today, as I mentioned before.
As are you.
Thank you. Okay, so Mark Patterson, he plays the bagpipes. Is there an instrument that you play?
I'm impressed by Mark playing the bagpipes, and I'm looking forward to hearing him then. That'd be great. Good Southern man.
Yes.
No, look, I don't. I did play the guitar briefly a long, long time ago. I've still got the guitar sitting in my cupboard. and I need to get it out. I need to just find that time to get it out, start sort of relearning, and it's almost going to be from scratch. Because I think playing an instrument is a great thing, and I regret not having done more of it.
Same, actually. And it's such a creative outlet, isn't it?
Well, and it's also, I mean, music's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Music's an emotional thing. And, if you're feeling up, down, sideways, you just want to celebrate things, music's great.
Well, only 15 minutes a week. 15 minutes to 30 minutes a week will help.
I'll take that. I'll take that on advice there.
Well, you know what I've done?
It's better than nothing.
I've pulled out the sewing machine. I had to go and buy a new one, actually, and I haven't sewed for 10 years, and I used to sew all of my clothes, and I went and bought a brand new sewing machine, and I've just made my first little thing, right? But the calmness that I felt during that, and I feel like I'm starting from scratch too. I used to make suits and everything, but I'm starting from scratch. But, I thought, you know what, Tan, if you make one outfit a month, but you spend the time, and it's such a relaxing thing. I had to get that thing out of my head. I used to be such a pro at sewing. Now you're starting from the beginning. But it was a really good experience just to be relaxed as I was sewing, So there you go. I've given you a bit of advice today, Andy.
You're going to stop me on sewing.
I won't get you sewing, but start playing,
But I think everybody needs something.
Don't bring it to work.
I think everybody needs something. I know in the house occasionally there'll be people knitting in there.
I'm not sure.
I think so. That won't be me.
Oh, okay. I never knew that. Okay, so what kinds of questions do you usually get asked?
I think as an MP, it's interesting. The questions that we get asked are quite different. Most of to when I was in local government. Most of the questions really are very much on the how's it going. They're the high level questions. It's just how's it going? Good year there. By and large, we're pleased with the change of government. So there's that kind of question. In terms of specific questions, quite a few have been about the impact of COVID on people's lives. So I've been approached by quite a number of people there who've given some very personal stories about the impact that it's had on them, quite emotional stories. And there was a couple of ladies I responded to just yesterday who said, well, nobody else has responded to us before, so thank you very much for doing that. We really appreciated that.
Fantastic.
So I think it's hard to respond to bulk emails. I mean, we've had thousands of emails about the Gaza situation. That's a different thing than the personal ones that these people are bringing up. It is quite a range, right across the range of everything that the government does, but the COVID ones seem to come through, particularly the personal side of things. But others, it's, about how the economy's working and what the opportunities there might be for us. And also people starting to reach out now. And I guess it's more organisations saying, well, we know you're looking after transport and infrastructure in terms of the select committee, so, we'd like to talk. That's cool.
Okay, so in 2021, you spoke against Three Waters reform. What led you to make that decision?
Well, I didn't like Labor's agenda of centralisation, so we know best, and it wasn't just Three Waters, it was a number of different areas as well. I mean, obviously we've seen it in health and Te Pukenga and various other things of that nature. So the centralisation agenda didn't appeal to me at all. Secondly, the compulsory nature of it. They started off with saying this is something that councils can opt into, you can choose to be part of. Then it was to opt out of. Then it's to it, you will be part of it. And the High Court, even three councils bravely took the government to court. The High Court said this is expropriation. Now, expropriation basically means you've taken something from somebody without their consent, without compensating them. That usually we would say is theft. And so the High Court found that. Now, what you'd have done with that, because of course Parliament can do things regardless of that finding, but that's pretty significant. And then I think the model they came up with was predicated on these massive. They said, Labor's been talking about saying, well, the rates are going to go up, but the reality is what they're hiding from people, or not saying to people, is all they were going to do is transfer this rates bill to a bill on the consumers, the customers. By and large, I mean, I don't know about you, but you own a house. You also use water, sewage, stormwater. So it's the same people. It's just that there might be some changes around the margins there. And even if the taxpayer were to come over the horizon to pay for it, we're taxpayers too. So there's no magic free money tree here. And then the whole thing was predicated on these, I think, very illusory savings. Just bigger is more efficient. It was the motto there. And I think you could see that they hadn't really thought through the inefficiencies which will be built into the system. I mean, they spent $1.2 billion to get to the point even they got to. And then, of course, there's the co-governance side of things, which didn't fit very well either for me. It was we've got one group of people who has different set of rights to other group of people, to the rest of us, in terms of the operation, not of natural assets, but of core infrastructures which have been built up over generations by ratepayers and on behalf of ratepayers. So there's a whole bunch of reasons that I didn't like what they come up with. And then I think that they built inefficiencies into the system as well. They reached right down to even two houses connected together being a water services entity in effect, that was going to be caught up in this scheme. And a lot of people, of course, were going, well, we don't want that. And it set standards which were unnecessarily expensive. And I just don't think the country could have afforded the $160, $180 billion that they were talking about.
The government repealed Three Waters.
We did.
Yes. And you spoke in the House.
Yes.
I was very impressed, actually, on your contribution. Nothing's changed since 2021 with all your beliefs about Three Waters? Everything's still the same?
No. I think what's been done, though, is more work on alternative models. I mean, I particularly, again, think the courage that a number of local government organisations, a number of councils have shown in coming up with an alternative model. I praise them for that work. So for me, no, I don't think anything's changed. I think the country has quite clearly said it didn't like what Labor had come up with. Labor's trying to change the narrative around it, but the reality was they were taking away the assets which have been built up by generations of ratepayers, putting them into some much less responsive and I think would have been at least as expensive, if not more expensive model.
And you shared your views very passionately in the House, I must say. I was really enjoying it. I've gone back and watched it again, even on our YouTube channel. It was great, very informative.
There was a bit of fisticuffs with one Willie Jackson in that debate as well. He sort of asked for the Speaker's intervention on some of his language. Yes.
Oh, well, I think that comes with the territory, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So what kind of things would you like to achieve during this term?
Look, I think I'm thinking about the issues that I'm working on at the moment. I mean, particularly around the transport infrastructure area. There are definitely areas we can do better. The cost of delivering really important infrastructure is too high. We had the Infrastructure Commission come into our committee the other day, and they said, look, we're broadly investing roughly the right amount of money in infrastructure, but sometimes we're investing in the wrong things. And I think sometimes political choices are an issue there. That's going to be a challenge. But also the cost of delivery, the regulatory process, some of the health and safety processes are very, very high. And if we don't make some changes there, we're going to keep on being left behind. So delivering infrastructure smarter, better is really, really important. But also making sure that organisations take that infrastructure delivery responsibly and seriously. And time again, we see local government's actually better here than central government, but our hospital system's falling apart. We've got education buildings all over the place that are falling apart, potholes all over the roads. All of those things are basic asset management, and we're not doing that well enough across the country. I think the other thing is somehow we've got a country that's become more and more divided. And if we can try and bring people together more, so we can stop shouting at each other, but start listening to each other, even on the hard conversations. If we can do that,
yes.
I think here we've got the issues around the treaty, for example. We've got issues around trans rights versus women's rights. We've got all the issues which you've had around COVID and the COVID inquiry and the people feeling alienated there. We've got to bring people back together again. I think Jacinda Ardern was talking about the idea of this team of 5 million. And then within a year or so, that team of 5 million has been absolutely cut apart. And we've got to do things to bring ourselves back together again, because we've got a great country. We've got a lot of fantastic people in our country, and we just need to recognise that.
Yes. A house divided cannot stand, right?
It's pretty shaky.
So, I agree with you. Unity has to be at the top of the list. It's one of my passion areas. What about you? Any other passion areas? I mean, there's infrastructure and everything. Is there a pet passion or something
I've got a little some local projects that I'm really, really keen to get across the line, which I've been working with the local community for several years, trying to build a consensus around what should happen to a special part of Wellington.
Okay.
So, I hope you will see that in due course.
So is that coming in the form of a members' bill? Because I was going to ask you about...
We'll see. That's a possibility. Yep. If that's needed, then that's what we'll see. We've got to build the connections first, build the alliance together so that everybody's singing from the same song sheet.
And do you have any ideas for a members' bill?
I've got about half a dozen ideas for members' bills, so they will. Yes, indeed, I've got several which are in my mind.
So if there's no room for ours to pop in the cookie jar, it's because Andy Foster's got all of his stuffed in there. Is that right?
Well, we're only allowed one at a time.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So but I mean, look. The perfect is to put a members' bill in and say, well, and the government look at it and go, actually, collectively, that's a good idea. Actually, we'll pick that one up.
So, Andy, you're not an independent anymore. You're part of a caucus. How does that feel? How different is it, and what's it like for you transitioning there?
Well, when I first stood for council, I stood as a citizen, so it's that's on the National Party side of things, and I'd been working in the National Party research unit in Parliament before that, and they said, well, do you want to join the Citizens Association to help us out? And then that led to actually standing as a citizen. That was going way back in the days when we had citizens and Labor with the bulk of the Wellington City Council. And we collectively decided, Fran Wild was the new mayor at the same time, we collectively decided we didn't want that party alignment and we would all act as independents. And as a collective, as the citizens group, we met on election night, and then we met about 2 years later to say, well, we're acting like independents, let's be independents. So I've effectively been an independent ever since I got elected to the council. And I always said that party politics is a real problem on the council, and it became more so. There was, we basically had got rid of it, and then the last 2 or 3 terms, it started to come back again. And I had the joy of being the mayor facing a hostile majority of Reds and Greens as blocks. And to me, in that environment, you're the oath that you swear is to do your best for the city with the best of your skill and judgment. Now, you can't use the best of your skill and judgment if you're just reliant on, our party block says that. It's different in central government because it's a different oath that we swear. And we are quite clearly, people elect us expecting us to work as a team, as a caucus. And that's what we do. And I've got to say, it's really good being able to work as part of a team, that you can say, well, I can rely on my colleagues. They're doing this bit, I'm doing this bit, they're doing this bit. And that's really cool. And what's also kind of nice is that that as a team of, there's, one team within a team of 3, in the coalition, we know that we've got the ability to be able to say, look, we've agreed on something, we've talked it through in the caucus, the caucuses have talked between each other, in a sense through the appropriate channels, and we can get the stuff done. Yeah,
we've all got a different skill set, haven't we? And it fits well.
And that's really, really that's really, really exciting, and it's really good. It's a supportive environment, and I think that's very cool because being an independent can be, you are on your own, and you've got to build alliances bit by bit by bit. Parliament's different than that.
That was a fabulous conversation, Andy. Thank you so much. And I look forward to working together with you to make things happen.
Thanks, Tanya. And I look forward to working with you too. It's exciting.
Thank you for joining us on FirstHand, the New Zealand First podcast. As always, send us your questions and comments and be part of the dialogue shaping the future of our nation. Subscribe, share, and stay tuned for more engaging conversations and stories that matter. Until then, I'm Tanya Unkovich, and this is FirstHand. Take care.